I got to say no to that I want to say yes to more times than you can count. I love fast food. I love to get f***ed up. I love to not go to the gym. I love to sit on my ass and watch hours of television. I don't like to read. I don't want to be productive, but I also know that I don't want what's going to happen if I do those other things. I've been there. Like, I've been unproductive, and I've been unhealthy, and I've been unfulfilled, and it doesn't feel good.
What's going on, friends? I hope you are well. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Dieting from the Inside Out. If you're new around here, welcome to the show. My name is Jared Hamilton, and I promise I don't normally sound like this. If you listen to a lot of the episodes or what you're about to hear going into the interview, I sound nothing like this. I'm not quite sure if I'm getting sick or what's going on, but nonetheless, I sound kind of funny in the intro and the exit of this episode. I'm not quite sure what happens, but anyway, I didn't want to put off putting out our episodes every week just because I feel a little bit under the weather. So we're doing this anyway, regardless. So bear with me, and I appreciate your patience. Now, my interview today is a really, really cool one. There's a gentleman I've become recently acquainted with, and he is a big deal in the industry. I'll get to his name here in a second, but this gentleman I'm about to interview, he'll host these really big events that are for other coaches on how to be more educated, create better transformations, and to overall impact our clients and our communities better and better and better. So he's a pretty big deal. He's extremely intelligent. He's been around the space for a really long time, and he is a giant wealth of knowledge when it comes to how to get to where you want to be. So I wanted to have him on the show. There's a huge response from the last episode I did with Andrew Coates, and Andrew is actually who introduced me to Aram, who we're about to talk to. So my guest today, his name is Aram Grigorian. I actually was a little bit worried on mispronouncing his last name, so I just sent him a text, and I said, "Hey, dude, I want you to just tell me how to pronounce your last name." So this is what we got.
Hello, sir. It is pronounced Aram Grigorian. Aram Grigorian.
Aram's great. Aram is such a good dude. He's such a great person. And man, he's so much fun to talk to. I know you're going to get a lot out of this episode. And man, he is so brilliant. He is so smart when it comes to the inner workings of how to change your life. In this episode, we got into a lot. We got into like what it takes to be successful, change in your life forever. We got into a lot of real talk. Aram is very similar to me and just tells it like it is, shoots from the hip, and it's just a lot of real talk. And to be honest, a lot of people need to hear it. So there's a lot of that. And I know if you're into that, you're going to enjoy it. I'm just looking at my notes. We got into a lot about how to be honest with yourself and hold yourself accountable, because a lot of people are doing this on their own. And then overall, what it takes to go from where you're at to where you want to be, and what it actually takes, and a lot of the common pitfalls, and how to change your life. That's literally what we're getting into. And I know you're going to get a lot out of this episode, so you'll want to stick around for the whole thing. Now, before we get into all of the goods, big thank you to the sponsors of the show. Sponsor number one is Flex Pro Meals. I was actually gone. I was gone this whole weekend. I was at First Form's giant Summer Smash event, and I literally just took a giant stack of Flex Pro Meals with me because it helped keep me on track. It helped keep me full and satiated and nourished. I just literally took a stack of like 8 or 9 of these meals because I was gone all weekend, and I just threw them in the freezer where I was staying at, and it helped everything keep on pace. It kept me from door dashing every other second. And it's things like that where you are going to have life hit you sideways that are unprecedented, that are chaotic, where you're going to be in not so great situations, and having food on deck that tastes amazing, that is in line with your goals, and the numbers are in check and everything is great, is so helpful, and it's going to save you money on top of it. So if you're into that sort of thing, definitely check out Flex Pro Meals. The link is below. But if you use my code Hamilton Trained, it'll save you like 20% at checkout, which is pretty legit. Next, second sponsor of the show is First Form. I'm normally wearing one of their shirts. But I was actually, like I said, at First Form's HQ this past week. So if you're a big fan of First Form, you know how legendary their HQ is, the gym in their HQ and what they do. And I had the opportunity to go out there this past weekend and spend a good amount of time there, and boy, was it insane. First Form has their annual Summer Smash event. It's called Summer Smash. It's basically a giant party supporting and celebrating the wins of the community, the customers, all of that. So it was me and 3,000 other Jareds that were at this event. It's probably why I sound like this. They bring in like world-renowned artists like Rick Ross and the Chainsmokers and all this stuff. It was an amazing event. I just had a blast. I was posting about it every day on my story and whatnot. So a big thank you to First Form for one, inviting me out on them. That was pretty great. And for being a sponsor of myself in the show. So when it comes to stuff like supplements, we all know it is not the end all be all, but not all supplements are created equal, right? Not all protein powders are the same. Not all vitamins are the same, or pre-workout or whatever it is you take. So I know for me, the reason I take supplements is because it fills the gaps I'm not getting with food. And that is the only reason you would take supplements. So, but with that being said, I want to make sure you're taking the right stuff. I don't want you just going on Amazon hoping for the best or buying something that was made in someone's basement, because that happens a lot. So if you're into that sort of thing, I want you to just go to the link below. It's my First Form link. It does support me, and I really, really appreciate it. Go check that out, see what they have going on. And if you're into that, where you're looking to fill some of the gaps you're missing with food or upgrade what you're taking, things like that, definitely go check them out, because it's literally like nothing you've ever seen. I promise you that. And if you're not quite sure where to get started with supplements, I do have a YouTube video below that, kind of my breakdown and rundown when it comes to supplements. So that is it for the sponsor section of the show. I apologize. My voice is running thin. Let's get into the interview with Aram. The beautiful thing is I recorded this before I left, so I don't sound like this in the interview. I know you'll get a lot out of this, and I will talk to you very soon. I always like it recording coming into it because so much cool shit gets said off camera. So I'm like, let's get recording as fast as possible. Now we'll go back to being boys. So
yeah, I noticed that sometimes the sidebar conversations that you have, like prior to starting, are almost a little bit more interesting than some of the stuff that because it's not, I don't like scripted anything. And like, no. I've been invited to a couple podcasts where like, well, here's the script. I'm like, well, fuck that. I'm canceling.
Yep. I'll get invited on shows and they're like, all right, do you want the list of questions? I go, no.
Nope.
Like there's been so many times I've ended a podcast and then we just bullshitted and I'm like, fuck, I wish I kept that rolling. That was so good.
I know. Well, I mean, listen, like if we've been doing this for long enough as well as we have been, like we should be able to stand in front of a room of 5,000 people asking us just spitball questions, and we should be able to answer anything because that's how confident we are in our material. If we're not, we're in the wrong line of work.
Yep, 100%. I agree with you. So let me ask you this. So for people who don't know who you are, I know you and I recently connected through a mutual friend. I actually just had Andrew on yesterday, so we just recorded. That was was a fun episode. Yeah, you came up in conversation. It was pretty cool. And then so what's your background? Like not necessarily background, but like what's your story with all of your stuff? Because you've been in the industry for a minute. You're super highly looked upon and everything. So what's your story?
Well, I appreciate you saying that I'm highly looked upon because there's still a great deal of imposter syndrome that happens on a daily basis. And I think it's just because I don't have the fancier side of the education like a lot of other people have. I think it's because I get so allured by the functional medicine stuff that like it makes me feel like, well, I'm just like, no, I'm not just a macro coach, and no, I'm not like somebody who's like deep diving into like candida overgrowth.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot about a lot, but I'm not practicing all that because in my opinion, most people are just kind of not complying and just can be really beneficial just by doing the basics. But the short version of me is finance career background, spent about 6-7 years, like kind of behind a trading desk doing account reconciliation for a commodities trading firm in Connecticut. And then, bounced around to a couple of different sales careers. The anchor was always that I was doing some type of training in person on the side. And then formally became a trainer in 2012 after I got laid off from corporate. And then bounced around a little while after that just because I was working with some high-level clientele in like New York City. And they were always offering me like sales jobs. And I was back then I was chasing money. Like I was just always like, how much more money can I get paid? Because I was used to making, 6 figures in my early 20s. And I thought that was going to be the standard forever. And then I realized I'm like, I don't really, as I got older and older, I just stopped caring about the money. And I started realizing that I'm just not happy. And I like coaching people and I like helping people and I want to get really good at it. And that's when I invested all my time and my money into like NCI and Precision and all these other things to try to get certified. And then I was doing a bunch of independent education, just like hitting up guys like Alan Kress or Jeff Black and just paying them for consults just to learn directly from them. And it just led to me moving out of Connecticut, moving to California, and then realizing I couldn't train people in person because my entire business fell apart, obviously. So I had to just reestablish myself online. And I just thought, like, what kind of content is going to be helpful for your average individual who is struggling? Because that's who I care about. I don't care about the people that like are being conducted in research studies, that 22-year-old college kid who's fucking ripped and jacked and lives a perfect life. Like, I care about Mr. and Mrs. Jones who are in their mid-40s who have been dealt bullshit for the last 40 years and now they're struggling. They're wondering why they're lost. And it's just trying to get them back to a place of like feeling good about themselves.
I love that. I'm curious. You said something that perked my ears when you said that early on, you were just so hyper focused on making money and you were getting that you were making money, but you realized you weren't happy. I feel like that happens so much in the world of like the average person trying to lose weight, but instead of money, it's weight loss. They're like, I just want to lose more. I just want to lose more. I just want to be more shredded. And then they realize, and they may get it and they're like, wow, I'm fucking miserable. Yeah. Do you find there's a correlation between that?
Huge, man, because it's like the end product that you're worried about. You know, as much as I hate that, like the cliche stuff that we always kind of have to like regurgitate, like it's not the journey, it's not the destination. But it's like, it's so true, because if you can't like, just think about your average person that's in just your buddy, right? Like where do you live?
Indianapolis.
Okay. Perfect example. Fucking middle America. I don't want to be stereotypical, but let's be very honest.
Do it, please.
I know plenty of people from the Midwest, and the word underachiever kind of always comes up in my mind.
I can see that. Yeah.
People have that small town, I don't want to leave, I've never seen the rest of the world mentality, and I'm really comfortable here. I think most people kind of personify that exact thing. Like they're happy with where they're at. They may be in a dog shit relationship that they're not really trying to get out of, or they're trying to improve. They're in some dead end job that isn't really giving them any fulfillment. They live a very average lifestyle, 100% across the board. There's nothing extravagant happening. There's no self-development occurring. There's no willingness to be out of your comfort zone. So that's just how life is. And then something happens. They see something, they hear something, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I got to lose weight, or I got to make more money. And then it becomes this like red car syndrome where all they see is red cars now.
Yeah.
So you don't get to reap the benefits of making more money, having a better relationship, or building a better physique if it hasn't been something that's been on your mind since the minute you were thinking. It bothers me. It almost discounts the entire process by which we've all conducted ourselves with, which is just the idea of achievement constantly. It doesn't have to be anything big. Like, to me, achievement doesn't mean, 7% body fat and a fat wallet and a massive house. Achievement to me is, wow, my mental health got better this week. Or, holy shit, I have better digestion this week. Or, oh my God, I'm connecting better with my spouse this week. Or, wow, I'm a lot more productive at work and I'm a lot less impatient with my children. Why can't we focus on those tiny little wins? Because the reality is if we were so focused on those big achievements, we would have been doing something along the way to already achieve that, but we haven't.
I agree completely. So, I think so many people stick to the external or extrinsic stuff, but everything you just mentioned is an intrinsic process-based thing where like losing 30 pounds or benching whatever, or fitting into whatever clothes, which those things are fine. But a lot of times I see people go, well, my adherence today is based on what the scale says tomorrow morning or yesterday morning, right? But everything you said is no, eating better, I feel better. Going on my walk every day, I'm more mentally clear. Showing up for myself makes me feel more confident. But I think you just have to add intrinsic stuff if you're going to have extrinsic stuff.
And you can't have an expectation of anything extrinsic unless you're willing to be slightly uncomfortable. I don't even want to say slightly anymore, because the level of discomfort that I have to live with on a daily basis is something most people aren't willing to do. Like, because people look at us who are like relatively fit or in good shape or living this lifestyle, and they're like, oh, it must be so easy for you. I'm like, I got to say no to shit that I want to say yes to more times than you can count. Like the thing is your average American is saying yes to everything they feel like saying yes to. Right? Like, you want to go out to dinner tonight? Sure, yeah, I'll see you at 7. Let's go get drinks tonight. Sure, I'll see you at 8. Like, nobody's saying no to anything. Like, I'm having to fucking limit myself on a daily, like I live in San Diego, one of the most beautiful places in the country. Like, everybody here is in good shape. Everybody here is fucking beautiful and rich and young, and they're all going out. Every bar is packed 7 nights a week. The weather here is perfect. There's music festivals every weekend. There's drugs galore. There's fucking orgy parties. There's a beautiful baseball team in the middle of our downtown. Like you could say yes on a daily basis and it would never stop. So like, and that's the thing is like, you don't get that in Des Moines, Iowa. You don't get that in fucking Spokane, Washington. You get that here. So if I can do it here and live this moderated lifestyle that I live, and I have to be as sacrificial as I am, because I know that I can't live that way and still get what I want. What is stopping? Like, why do you have to say yes to everything? And why do you expect to look and feel amazing when you're never moderating yourself at all?
Let me ask you this, and I'm curious. I actually don't know what you're going to say, so I'm really intrigued about this one because I agree with you. Because I agree that too often people we say yes to everything, or I feel like they either in on one spectrum or the other. It's yes to everything. I just spoke with the lady the other day who she said she spends $1,000 a month on Uber Eats or DoorDash. $1,000 a month.
Stop.
Dead serious. $1,000 a month.
That beats my total.
Right, but like crazy. But anyway, but so we talked about like, okay, well that's a little too much. I'm not saying we have to go to zero, but but we have to have some moderation. But I feel like people, man, especially the average person, they're either going all or nothing extremism, bodybuilder extremists. I'm not allowed to go out to eat. I'm not allowed to have any donuts. Or they'll go the other way and say, I'm an all or nothing person as they eat the whole fucking bag of donuts. So my question is, because I believe there's a land where both exist, where like moderation in the average person, but still having sacrifice, but still having indulgence. But I feel like people have the hardest time finding that middle ground. What's your thoughts on that?
I think I talk about this constantly, and I think balance is earned.
That's good.
Like everybody's always like wanting like this idea of like, I want to have a balanced lifestyle. Well, it's going to have to be out of balance for some time. Like anybody that's ever achieved anything in their life was out of balance for the period of time in which they were working towards that achievement. It has to be that way. Like courting your wife or your like, you know what I mean? Like you're spending multiple dinner dates and multiple months courting this individual, falling in love with them, getting to know them, you know, saying no to your boys to go and meet this girl for the 17th time, knowing that nothing's going to happen tonight, but you're building this relationship. So like, you know what I mean? Like that's uncomfortable. Having to spend, 15-hour days at work to try to get that next promotion. Why would you not think that has to be the same way on your fitness journey, especially if you want physique change, which is what most people want. Like most people, if you ask them, like, what's the goal of you going to the gym and eating well? I want to look good naked, or I want to look good if I want to feel good in my clothes. Nobody gives a shit about how much they fucking squat or how fast they run or what their box jump height is. Like Mrs. Jones does not give a fuck if she's using a 90-pound dumbbell on her goblet squat or a 40-pound dumbbell. She just wants her ass to look better. So if you want that stuff, if you want an aesthetic change, you have to moderate, especially your eating behavior, and you have to make your lifestyle conducive to the stuff that you're doing in the gym so that the gym stuff actually takes shape. Otherwise, you're just going to the gym and you're going through the motions and nothing is changing because you're not backing it up with the lifestyle stuff.
That's good. That's really good. I think this is where something I've been saying a lot lately is think harmony over balance, because you can be unbalanced in life, but be in harmony because your expectations and ambition and actions are in check, right? Like you're going to have to sacrifice certain things, or in any analogy, like the courting or a business or whatever, you're in harmony though, because your actions and ambition are in line. But I feel like there's a lot of people who live a balanced life, but they don't have harmony because they aren't getting the results or their actions and ambitions aren't lining. I feel like the harmony is what we really need, not the balance.
Yeah, I like that. I think the idea of harmony is awesome. And I don't think balance is unrealistic, but if you want balance, you also have to mitigate expectations.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with wanting a balanced lifestyle. Like there's a part of me that wants to go out to eat 4 or 5 nights a week. I mean, the restaurants here are delicious. There's plenty of fresh food. Like I don't have to eat like an asshole every time I go out. There's plenty of options I can eat, but I don't like being out of control and having to have somebody else do the thing for me because I know that they're not going to do it the way that I want to do it. So if I put together a beef and rice bowl at night, I know that I'm controlling my ingredients, my portion sizes, my quality of food. I don't think the place down the street's going to be able to do the same job I can because they're not considering my health and my well-being.
Right.
Is it easier to go to them? Possibly. It's definitely not cheaper. And I'm somebody who I love shit food. I really do. Like people don't actually understand like how much I love. Like, dude, Five Guys. Like I have dreams about like pizza because I'm from the East Coast, man. Like I grew up in the pizza capital of the country. I grew up right in New Haven, Connecticut, which is 3 out of the top 10 places in the country for pizza. And I was down the street from all of them. Like, I literally salivate to this day. California pizza, by the way, sucks ass. Like, they do one thing well here, and it's Mexican food, and I can give a shit less about Mexican food.
That's funny.
But like, I love fast food. I love to get fucked up. I love to not go to the gym. I love to sit on my ass and watch hours of television. I don't like to read. I don't want to be productive, but I also know that I don't want what's going to happen if I do those other things. I've been there. Like, I've been unproductive, and I've been unhealthy, and I've been unfulfilled, and it doesn't feel good. Like, it requires a lot of, it's almost like, how many people are in bad relationships or in abusive relationships and just keep making the same like justification for staying in it?
Yeah.
Like, if you had that level of patience with dieting or exercise, you'd be in the most phenomenal shape ever. Like, you'd be like, you're like some woman who's taking the same idiot back multiple times after he cheats on her. He's like, oh, I'll give him another chance. But you quit the first level of resistance of any type of nutritional plan that you're given. Like, oh, I had one bad weekend, so fuck it. What's the point? Or I'm not getting results fast enough. Like, exhibit that same level of patience that you give to that scumbag dude that you keep accepting back into your life with your nutrition and your training. It may not bear fruit visually immediately, because it probably won't. But at some point in the next X amount of months that you've been doing it for, I bet there's going to be some positive change that's occurring anyway.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I love that. It's funny when you were talking about all that stuff. I just started going to a new gym, and in the same like strip mall, there is a big fat Five Guys in the strip. In the strip my gym is in. So
too
like,
convenient.
you know,
it's too convenient.
Bro, you know how easy it is to come out. Like, I've only and it's okay, because this is why I think massive self-awareness is so important. Like you just mentioned, I'm naturally this, I'm naturally that, I naturally like this, but I'm also aware enough to know, left to my own devices, all this bad shit's going to happen. So I know when I go to the gym, I know exactly what I'm going to smell as soon as I walk out those doors. We all know the smell of beautiful Five Guys. But I also know, and there's times like, actually in the last like 3 weeks, I've only gotten it once. And I'm like, good. I've got the calories, I've got the macros, like let's make it happen. And I ate well the rest of the day. But I also know myself, like it's going to be really easy to smash Five Guys every day. But I also know I have my own personal boundaries set up. Like, all right, here's my rule. I'm not allowed to have Five Guys more than once a week or whatever it may be, you know? But I think having that level of self-awareness is pivotal with half of this.
I just don't think a lot of people are thinking about their decisions on a daily basis. And I was just having this conversation with somebody. I got to make a post about it. One of the most detrimental phrases that I hear that really cuts me deep is when people tell me I don't want to have to think about it. Like, how many times do we get that, right? Like, I don't want to have to think about exercise. I don't want to have to think about food. Well, where else are you exhibiting that level of like carefreeness? Like, you think about your children all day long. You think about your spouse. You think about your job all the time, probably to a fault. So why would you not think about nutrition and fitness? Because the rest of the world is not set up for us to make like good, healthy decisions. Like, just like you said, like you have a Five Guys in the same strip as a gym. So like, very easy, seamless decision to make. Hey, I just crushed my leg workout. I need to replenish those. No idea. Just, let me go get those glycogen stores filled right back up again. Yeah. And by the way, I use Chronometer for food logging, and Five Guys is in Chronometer. That double cheeseburger that I get from there is over 1,000 calories.
Easily. Yeah.
And I think it's something around 60 to 70 grams of fat. Mm-hmm. Just like let's like actually, like, because people still are not convinced the calories are real. And I promise you they are. Like, anybody who's like following like the Hubermans of the world are like the V Shreds or the fucking Mark Hymans who are telling you that like, no, we can biohack you out of this. Like, no, we can't. Like, you're fat because you eat too much. That's it. You're not fat because of PCOS. You're not fat because of endometriosis. You're not fat because you're 70. You're not fat because you're depressed. You're fat because all of those things led you to not caring about what you put in your mouth. And then when you put too much in your mouth, it accumulates. It's as simple as that. I don't care what people say. Weight loss resistance comes at such a specific circumstance. And then by the time you're that far gone, that's when I send you off to people that know better than I do, because at that point, then it may be a gut health issue. It may be a hormone issue. Multiple dieting attempts haven't worked. Fine. But you better be rock solid foundational habits before you start having those conversations. So If you can't moderate daily living with all of these beautiful things that we have around us on a daily basis, you're not going to set yourself up for success because the world is not going to want you to be successful. Our system is set up for you to be sick, stupid, and unhealthy. It is. I mean, I'm sorry to say it out
100%.
loud, but like, look at what happened during COVID.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want the alcoholics to flood the hospitals to constrain the system. So let's make sure we keep liquor stores open. But let's close gyms because those are breeding grounds for disease. So let's not give people an outlet to exercise or move their body at all. Oh, and by the way, here's an opportunity for you to get all the steps in the world in because now you're not working in an office. You can work from home. Oh, but now you have to sit on fucking Zoom all day and jerk yourself off to meetings that don't matter. Like, none of this ever made any sense to me. Like, you should have, like, COVID should have been the opportunity for you to be the healthiest of your life. You're now home to meal prep your own food. You're not going anywhere. Restaurants are fucking closed. Like, you should have been taking 45,000 steps a day and eating immaculately well. But what did people do? I put on 30 pounds during COVID. I'm like, how the fuck did you put on 30? It better have been muscle. They're like, no, I put on 30 pounds of fat during COVID. Like, what'd you do? I'm like, well, I drank and ate like shit all day. I'm like, okay, that was a personal choice.
Yeah.
Nobody forced you into doing that. Like, we were all just as depressed during COVID. Like, obviously, if you're prone to mental health issues, that probably exacerbated it. But I went through one of the roughest breakups of my life during COVID. It tore us apart. I got into the most fucked up situation ever because of it. Like, I could have used all that as an excuse too, but the thing that grounded me and made me feel good was my routine. It was meal prepping, eating food that made me feel good. Luckily, I had access to an underground gym that I had a key to, so I was able to use that, luckily. But if I didn't, I would have figured out other ways to work out because I wanted to move my body and honor my commitments. So, like, I think we live in a world right now where we are not set up for success and we never will be. So if we don't actually take the initiative to do it, we're always going to be victimized by what the circumstances around us are.
That's so good, dude. I agree with that 1,000%. I was just talking about this the other day that at all times we have opportunity and excuses in front of us and they're both legitimate as fuck. But it like every excuse is legitimate. Kids, life, work, time. But like, it all comes down to what you prioritize because actions don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Where you spend your money, the time in the day, it doesn't lie. You can say everything you want, but like COVID's a great example. Because I saw the same exact thing. People's, we'll say business in their physiques and their bodies. Either I had friends whose businesses melted and just went to shit in COVID. I had a record breaking year after year. Not trying to sound like a cocksucker, but it's because I went, everyone else is declining. I'm going to go as hard as I can. Everything's shut down. I'm not as distracted. I'm going hard and my business grew. In the same way, like you were talking about with your health, people, I feel like it gives people an opportunity to exemplify who they really are. It's like when people say money makes people bad. No, it's just a megaphone. If you're a shitty person poor, you're probably going to be a shitty person rich. If you have, from a time perspective, if you have terrible habits and aren't that great of a quality of person, and you have this megaphone of time, are you either going to be great with it or terrible with it? I just feel like it just shows you more of where your character's at.
Yeah. And, I would say the same thing about me. Like, my business flourished because I was the one person that was willing to work 7 days a week during COVID. I'm like, sure, I have access to this facility. I know your gyms are closed. I'll work out a deal with you. We'll keep the front lights off. We'll fucking pay off cops. We'll do whatever we got to do. I want to live in a world where people are actively pursuing solutions as opposed to just living behind their problems.
Yeah.
And this is where, like, I talk, most of my clientele is women. My audience on Instagram is almost exclusively women. But what are women constantly being told? Be weak. You have all these disorders. Oh, by the way, menopause is going to basically make you useless. And you're a binge eater. You're an eating disorder victim. So you can just live behind these labels. As opposed to, why not understand that those are part of your life and you can navigate around them and empower yourself to make better decisions? Like, it's a cloak that you don't need to wear. And I think that we live in an overly diagnostic world where, like, as soon as you get labeled that diagnosis, then that's the thing that you have to wear until the day you die. Like, as opposed to, like, you can be a disordered eater who also looks and feels amazing because you're constantly fighting your disorder. It's not easy to show up for yourself every single day. You're going to have days where it's going to suck. You're going to have days where you want to melt down and cry, and that's where the resources and the coping mechanisms come into play. But I don't think that we're void of opportunity. I think we're just void of action. Like, just people just have such a tough time putting stuff together. And it doesn't have to be anything extreme. Like people think that they have to like cut out every single bad, whatever. I mean, I don't even know what bad foods are anymore. It's just, it's either food or it's not food. It's either edible or it's not edible. To me, like there's, like, I think we all know if we consume any type of content, like obviously if they're listening to your podcast, they've been consuming content. They probably know that a grilled chicken salad with, a side of fruit is probably better for them than going to Five Guys. Nobody's void of that information anymore. This is all like public knowledge. But if you're not living in that like lower end of the spectrum where like you're going from couch to fitness, if you're kind of in that intermediate tier, you might have to be uncomfortable and sacrificial for some time. You might have to quantify some of the food you're eating. You might have to start intensifying your training and being more specific with it. And you might have to start putting yourself to bed at an earlier hour to get the benefits of all this stuff for a period of time. And then once that period of time has kind of elapsed and you feel relatively good about it, we don't know how long it's going to take, but then you can start to kind of add in and layer back in some of that balance that you were talking about, because maybe you're doing it now from a much mental healthier place as opposed to beating yourself up and being restricting all the time, which is then going to lead to binging, which is going to lead to erratic decision making. And that's where we don't want you to be.
I like that. It reminds me of one of my all-time favorite books by Stephen Pressfield called The War of Art. Not The Art of War, the War of Art. He talks about like resistance is required. Like you cannot do anything great without there being resistance, whether it be that little voice or the desire to whatever you want to call it, the bitch voice, your evil clone, whatever you want to call it. But you cannot accomplish anything great without resistance. And I think people's expectation, the fact that they think, oh, I got this new program, it's going to be easy. I hired the coach, it's going to be easy. It's like, bro, you just have the roadmap. Your old bullshit is still going to haunt you and you're going to have to fight through it. You know what I mean? There's no way to avoid it.
I wish, like I just hired a coach. I hired a coach 8-9 weeks ago. Do you know Jace Lopez?
I've heard that name.
So he presented at my event in March, and he's a coach out of Louisiana. He's kind of hybrid, like bodybuilding lifestyle, so he does both. I never realized how overcomplicated I made things and how inadherent I was to my own plan. Like obviously as coaches, we know all this stuff. Like we can write the most beautiful training program, we can write the best amazing macro plan and diet, but we still have to follow it.
Yeah.
And I think because we know so much, we find loopholes to become non-compliant. We're like, well, let me fit this Five Guys into my day, right? Let me eat zero fat all day long just to get these fries and this burger down. When in reality, like we know that 30 minutes after eating that shit, we're going to be fucking hungry again. And we're probably going to want to eat something else. And like, I allowed myself to eat something stupid. Like, oh, well, I can eat 3,500 calories. So let me get 100 grams of fat a day. Like that's just an astronomical amount of fat for anybody. And I realized that because of that, I looked and felt like shit. And now I'm eating like 60 grams of fat a day. And oh my God, wow, I feel better.
Yeah.
What a
Just
shock.
call yourself keto and then validate it. It's fine.
But that's what I was doing. I was hiding behind my own knowledge base. And then I was overcomplicating something as simple. Because nutrition and training is not complicated. I don't care how you slice it. Like the human body is the same as it's been for thousands of years. It hasn't evolved at all. Like we've been walking, we're bipods, whatever the hell we call it.
Right.
Our digestive system is the same. The problem is our environment has changed. So we're not as active. We're more stressed out. We're poorly fed because the food system has suffered. And we're more susceptible to making erratic decisions with that bad environment because of those high levels of stress and because of that poor food environment. So we don't need to hack biology. We just have to get back to the basics and do them for long enough until we can then earn the right to intensify certain protocols to create specific outcomes. Because everybody, again, comes back to what is the goal? My goal is I want to look and feel better naked. Okay. So that means that you need to lose body fat and probably either build or retain and expose muscle mass. What does that mean? That means a bodybuilding split routine 3 to 5 times a week. It means eating mostly real food that you can identify as what it is that came out of the ground, off a tree, or from an animal. And just rinse and repeat that daily until you start to convince yourself that you're feeling so good that it doesn't matter to go back to that old lifestyle, or that you're actually starting to see what you want to see in the mirror. And that psychs you up to never want to stop.
That's so. I don't understand why people have to make it so. Actually, I do understand why they have to make it so complicated, so they can validate their dumb decisions when they go, "Oh, I'm going to make this so unsustainable. I can't do it." So then I can go, "Oh, it's not my fault. I did it right and it didn't work, or it didn't work with my life," and then validate it with all or nothing mentalities and bullshit. That's why I'm fully convinced. But that's a whole nother tangent.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think, and how many times do people come to us wanting to hear something just to validate themselves and their actions? Like I've had multiple people reach out to me and DM me and be like, "Do you think this plan is right?" I'm like, "I don't know. What does your coach think?" Like, you're already paying a professional. Why are you asking me?
Right.
Well, I just want to make sure that what I'm doing is right. I'm like, figure it out. Maybe it's not right now, but it'll be right at some point. Like, why? It's never going to, like, the path to getting what you want is never going to be the same for each individual. Like, there's going to have to be some trial and error. You're going to have to fuck it up sometimes. You have to see how bad or how good it's going to be. But this idea that it's going to have to be like, if I don't follow these sets and reps, then the workout's ineffective. Like, I had this happen yesterday. I had a woman that I coach. She's actually a coach. And she sits all day because she decides that she wanted to do fucking Zoom check-ins, which I told her, I'm like, why the fuck would you ever do Zoom check-ins all day long? Like, now you're just seated all day, and that sucks. Like, do phone check-ins and pace around your house like a normal person.
Right.
And she finally, like, caved in and got one of those, like, under-desk treadmills to walk on. So what did I get yesterday? I got a text message saying, well, my watch doesn't count the steps because I'm using my hands on the keyboard while I'm walking, so it defeats the whole purpose. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the credit your watch is giving you about your steps.
Right,
I care
the validation.
Like, I care that you're standing up and not seated and walking all day long as opposed to sitting. Like, what? How are you coaching people?
Yeah.
Like, what are you telling them? I just don't understand.
Right. Or like, oh, I carry a clipboard at work all day, and that's the side my Apple Watch is on. So this arm doesn't move, but there's no pacing with this arm, so I don't know what to do. Like,
you're still getting the steps. Like, you're physiologically. Yeah. And that's what people, I think, don't understand. It's like, you don't need to be validated by devices or by coaches or by the internet or anything else. If what you're doing is creating a positive outcome and you're feeling good, great. Continue down that path and then just learn how to be able to intensify it or back away from it depending on the circumstances of your life. But I think the idea is now that we have all these different things that are creating a layer of thinking that we never had to do before, like, and that's where it becomes overthinking, because what do we have now that we've never had before is we have information coming to us out of a fire hose on a daily basis. Like, everybody has something to say, and Lord knows that we have a lot of people on this platform that don't need to have it. And there's not a lot of reasonable information because reasonable isn't sexy.
Right.
Like, nobody's going to listen to a podcast and be told that they need to drink more water. I mean, they are, obviously. They're listening to yours. They're listening to mine. Like, sure. What are they being told every day? Like, drink more water, eat more protein, eat more vegetables, lift harder, sleep better, love harder, enjoy the world. Like, we didn't give you, like, the magic pill that you've been expecting. It's like, oh, what are your 5 secrets to losing fat? Like, there aren't.
Rapid fat loss protocol. 24 hours or less, lose 10 pounds. Yeah.
I wish. Actually, you know what? I don't. Like, I think I say that. Like, I say that I wish it was easy, and I don't, because then it wouldn't make me value anything.
Right.
Like, I'm so fucking happy that my life has been hard. Yeah. I am. Like, I'm happy that I've been broke. I'm happy that I've been fucking sick. I'm happy that I've been addicted to drugs. I'm happy that I've had shit relationships, because I would not be the almost 40-year-old man that I am today if I hadn't suffered all that. Like, why do you want it to be easy? Like, you look at all these, like, I grew up with a bunch of fucking trust fund babies. I grew up around wealth my whole life, and those people are douchebags, and they're unfulfilled, and they're unhappy because everything has been spoon-fed to them their entire existence. So they've never had to critical think for anything. They've never had to bleed for anything. Nothing's ever been hard. It's all just been falling into their lap all the time. Is that how you want to live? Like, that's the legacy you want to leave at the end of your life?
That's good. I was talking to a client about she's just finished her program with us, and she's crushing it, and she's just a different human, right? And we got talking on a call about she brought up her parents and how, like, she grew up with her parents being like alcoholics and just not good people, and so they never valued her. So as a child, she learned to never value herself, and so she's had to do some reparenting and that kind of stuff. And one thing I mentioned to her is, I said, hey, just don't forget, if you had the parents you wanted, you wouldn't be the bad motherfucker you are today. Like, we had, like, I think some of those mental reframes are so good because she's such an amazing human. She has some boys that she's been this incredible mom to. But I said, if you had the mom and dad you wanted and arguably needed, you would not be the bad motherfucker you are today. And then she kept obviously started getting emotional, but it's true, because when we go through resistance and suffering, it serves us if we let it, you know.
I think, what other way is there? Like, I don't know that anything has ever been easy. Like, I came to this country when I was 5 in 1989. We immigrated from Russia. That was
I didn't know that. That's dope.
Yeah, that was a fucking nightmare.
Well, maybe dope. I don't know. You said it's a nightmare. So.
I mean, it's dope that it happened, but like, I'm watching that show, The Americans, on FX now. Have you seen that? About this, it's a show about how like the KGB spies that were living as American families in the United States, they were actually like, they were trained to speak English. They came here together and they actually had kids, and they were called Directorate S, and they were actually spies living in on American soil, living as American families with American children born here, but they were KGB officers doing intel, go back and forth, and this was a real thing. So I came from one of the most locked up, fucked up countries in the world, where they spun everything to make it look like Russia was the best place on earth. And moving to America, where literally you can go from being broke to rich in a matter of a year.
Yeah.
Like, there is no shortage of opportunity in this country. Like, they're really, like, anybody that has a hard time here would be destroyed anywhere else. Like, if you're suffering in the United States, like, go spend like a week in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Like, go spend a week in Thailand. Like, you'd be fucking dead. Like, you wouldn't, like, drop you off in the middle of like Beijing, China tomorrow, and let me know how well you do. And like talk to me about how well your pronouns are being accepted there. Let me see you flourish in that environment. Like, if you can't make it here, where it's literally set up for you to make it as easy as possible, as sensitive as possible, as simple as can be, with all the ripest opportunity, like, nowhere else in the world is giving you this opportunity. So if you can't make it here, you literally can't make it anywhere. So use this really cushy environment to create the best possible outcome. And maybe that's the fault.
Yeah.
Maybe we've made it too easy for people.
Well, it's like that. There's, I might butcher this. It's like that quote: "Easy times make for weak men make for hard times. Hard times make for strong men make for good times make." And it's just this fucking wicked cycle, or whatever, however it goes.
It's so true. Yeah, I mean, like, have you ever watched the movie Cinderella Man?
If I have, it's been a minute.
It's so good. It's about a boxer during the Great Depression. It's a true story. And the guy, it just basically chronicles his entire life during the Great Depression, like trying to like feed his family, like working, like getting picked for a factory job that day to where he'll make like 30 cents that he can go put the lights back on in his apartment. And over time, he has to like go into the welfare office and collect money, which he was so embarrassed about because it was below his integrity level. And he's like, I don't want to take handouts. I want to earn it, but I need it to keep the kids alive. His kids that taken away from him and sent off because they can't afford to keep them. So like, nobody, like, yes, of course. I don't want to ever discount and say that nobody bleeds anymore. But the reality is if you have one of these and you spend 2 to 3 hours on it, scrolling other people's lives, you probably have enough time to build the life that you want. Yeah. You probably do. Like, that extra 3 hours a day that you spend rolling, like, I forgot that social media is meant for entertainment. Like, I really do. Like, I log on to this thing because I have to do it for work and I have to interact with my audience. I don't just mindlessly scroll reels all day long and like watch like cats fall off of trees. Like, I don't have the band. If I want to be entertained, like, I have 97 different TV subscriptions that I'll go put on.
Sure.
Like, I paid $4.99 for Paramount and $5.99 for HBO Max and all this other shit. So if I need to like consume like brainless television, I'll go do that. But like, I'm not going to spend my time on here. This is a great place to find motivation, inspiration, ideas, information. Like, this is incredible. Like, half of your education on nutrition and fitness can be done on. Like, there are so many good accounts on here. I mean, the amount of people that like Lifting Lindsay, N1 Education, Paul Carter, your account, my account, Beth's account, the amount of people that are teaching you how to live a better life because they've fucked up somehow in their past and now they're doing it better. And you're not taking advantage of that. Shame on you.
Yeah. YouTube University. I'm like, dude, you can get the best education on YouTube. It's unreal.
Yeah. You can learn how to build a house. If there's ever been anything that I don't know how to do, I'm like, I promise you YouTube has it.
Bro, I'm the least handy man ever.
Same.
And bro, I had to like move a stud in my wall. Like, I'm talking about some like dangerous shit. Like, I'm like, oh, I got to install this door. Oh, fuck. The door's too wide for the hole. I guess I have to move a stud over. And I did it. And it's like, what the fuck? I felt like $1 million. But it's why people will find an account, let's say like yours or like mine or one of these other guys that are doing it for the right reasons, putting out good content, and it will literally change someone's life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's why I feel like you're right. I think, yes, there's still some people that bleed, but I feel like some people want it to be so easy. I'm not saying it's got to be an extremism, bullshit, crazy thing, but like the amount of conversations I've had to have about someone that says, oh, I know, like when someone says, Jared, I know what to do, I just don't do it. I go, well, you either don't really know or you don't really care. It's like if a child knows they're supposed to clean their room and they don't, it's because they don't give a fuck. But then all of a sudden, hey, your girlfriend's coming over and she's gonna go, you're gonna look like a slob. They go, oh shit. Well, now why? Because their desire changed. They care now and they didn't before. And I feel like the amount of conversations I've had with people who just don't want to put forth any action. Well, I know I need to go work out, but I just am not making it happen. I know I should, and it's not. Or like, I know I should probably eat less and like, well, it doesn't matter what it is, but in certain cases, I go straight to like, you're not fucking helpless. I think so many people like act like they're helpless. And it's like, no, you got to put forth, not saying you have to go 100%, but 50 is a good start. 60 is a good start, something, but
I would just something as simple as like walking.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is preventing? And trust me, I've worked with people that are like dispatchers for the NYPD. Like they literally have to sit in a chair for 10 hours a day.
Right.
Like they're allowed to like, if they take a 5-minute, by the way, they're allowed cigarette breaks for the NYPD, but they're not allowed to take a lunch. Make that make sense for me. So you can go outside and have a cigarette, but you're not allowed to eat at your desk or take a lunch. Again, the world is a fucked up place, but like, unless your job is chaining you to your desk, there are so many creative ways to where you can literally, like, I don't leave my apartment some days. Like, there's been weeks where I haven't started my car because the gym is closed. I'll ride my bike, whatever. Weeks where I just don't leave my apartment or if I do, I'm going to the gym and it's closed. So if I can get 15,000 steps on average working from home, why the fuck can't you? Like I have a standing desk. I could do my podcast standing. I can type standing. I can take phone calls pacing back and forth in my tiny 700 square foot apartment to the kitchen, to the living room, to the bed. Like I literally walk through every room multiple times on a phone call. Like get creative. Well, I can't make it to the gym. Fine. Don't make it to the gym. Don't make it to the gym. Do reverse lunges. Grab a TRX band, hook it to your door, do rows, do tricep extensions. Like there's ways to do something. Are you going to get the best physique in the world doing it? No, of course not. But it's going to be better than what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, most people aren't that low level, right? Like most people that are consuming our content have probably already understood some of the basics. So they're probably eating more protein. They're probably starting to go into the gym. But then there's this disconnect behind some of the nuance of it. So maybe now is the conversation where you're like, okay, well, what is progressive overload? How do I push myself to failure? Where are my lats? Where is my middle deltoid? Where is my quad? How do I stimulate these muscles? Why do I want to eat more carbs on training days? Like that stuff. Okay, fine. Like that's where you have to get real crystal clear and real consistent.
Yeah.
Because like what you did from A to B is not what's going to happen from B to C.
What got you here won't get you there. Yeah.
No, of course. Like even me now, like now working with Jace, like the amount of bullshit that he's called me out on, he's like, bro, like I know you're not stupid. He's like, you just don't fucking care.
Wow. That's a good coach right there. That's what I'm talking about.
And I loved it. I'm like, bro, like, of course, like, please, like, by all means, I'm never going to get upset about that. Like, I spent a week overeating at night because I was stoned and I was ordering Grubhub for no reason. Like, I already hit my 2,800 calories, but I had nothing but time at the end of the day because I was bored. I wasn't filling my time with anything productive. And I sat on the couch high, and when I get high, I get the munchies. So what did I do? I saw that I had a problem. What was the cause of the problem? Smoking and having nothing to do. So what did I do? I removed smoking. So immediately removed the problem of overeating. I wasn't hungry. Like anybody tells me that they have cravings at night, I'm sorry. Like if you were that hungry at night, if I give you a bag of carrot sticks, would you eat it? No, probably not. Like you want fucking chocolate, you want chips, you want Stacy's pita chips, you want bagel chips, like you want crunchy snacks. Like that's not because you're hungry. That's just because you're bored.
It's interesting you say that. Whenever people would ask, like, I can't tell if I'm hungry or not, I ask, would you eat like either a grilled chicken salad or a really good turkey sandwich? You know, like a good deli meat sandwich,
Yeah.
or real food. And
Right.
and 9 times out of 10, if they wouldn't, I say they're bored, they're emotional, whatever. Actually, I had an experience. I was in downtown Nashville, and we were all fucking hungry, the fellas I was with, and we went to the Hard Rock because it was the only place where you could hear yourself think. And because you do, when you're really, really hungry, it's dumb what you're willing to eat when you're really hungry. We like ordered, they were super slow, so we ordered an appetizer. It had like 4 pieces of like Chipotle shrimp in it or whatever, but it was on like a bed of like, think of little sticks made of lettuce. Like you took a piece of lettuce and they're tiny. They're this thin. Well, we pounded the shrimp like that because we're all fucking hungry, but they were taking just so fucking long to get our food. Bro, I am eating these bullshit strips of lettuce because I was legitimately hungry. I'm not saying people go starve themselves and try to eat like a rabbit, but I was actually hungry and I was trying to find some semblance of hunger resolution from lettuce sticks because the restaurant was taking so damn long. So when someone's like, I'm not hungry, actually, I noticed this. I'll tell my wife, I'm like, man, I'm hungry. Nothing sounds good. I've got meal preps in the fridge. I've got fucking chicken and rice. And I'm like, I'm hungry. Nothing sounds good. But it sounds good as fucking chips. So I'm like, I should probably just make a sandwich. I should probably go grab the meals that are ready to go right now and get over myself.
That to me is probably one of the most powerful levels of self-awareness that you'll ever come to, is when you realize that it's not that you're hungry, it's just that you want something to deviate away from your norm.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I eat the same 4 things essentially every single day. How do I make them exciting? I flavor them in different ways. So maybe one night if I do beef, like mostly my protein sources are like beef, shrimp, whey, eggs, and egg whites. That's what I tolerate. That's what feels good to me. That's what I eat. So if I want to make my beef and rice dish at night feel different, like maybe one night I'm doing Asian, so I'm doing like a soy-free teriyaki sauce. Maybe one night I'm doing, I'll squirt mustard and ketchup in it, make it into a burger bowl. Maybe one night I'm doing Mexican, so I'll do some adobo in there. So yeah, you can flavors. At the end of the day, the base stays the same, the amount stays the same. It's just a different flavor profile. And if I have a sweet tooth, like of course I want ice cream, but I know ice cream makes me feel like shit. So what do? I'll do a big bowl of berries. You guys have like the chocolate hummus over there in Indianapolis?
No. The fuck is that bullshit?
It's hummus.
Chocolate hummus?
It tastes like chocolate pudding. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Boar's Head makes one. A couple other brands make it. So I'm sure. Do you guys have Kroger there?
Yeah, we have Kroger.
So I think Kroger will have it. So
interesting.
Peek around at like the deli counter and see if you can't find it, or go on Boar's Head's website and see where they do sell it.
Chocolate hummus.
Yeah, and I'll do like $2. It's like 80 calories maybe for like 2 tablespoons of it, and you mix that around. You do some sugar-free whipped cream on top. So now at least you're getting micronutrients, you're getting fiber, you're eating real food, and you're still satisfying that sweet tooth. So there's all these things that we can do to kind of like auto-regulate ourselves. It's just easier to make the suboptimal choice because it's usually cheap and it's usually convenient and it's usually requiring zero thought.
I think one of the biggest differences this whole conversation has been alluding to is your brain has been on the offense about finding solutions about all of this. It hasn't been, oh, well, and then validate some dumb decisions. It's, these are my priorities. I know there's solutions somewhere here, and you just might have to dig for it, right? Like you're working from home all day, like you're working from home all day, and so you're like, fuck, I gotta get my steps in. For me, I'm down a staff member, so I'm like pulling some extra load because of that. Everyone that follows me knows I detest morning workouts. Literally, fucking hate morning workouts. I just can't stand them. Well, I'm going strong, like from AM all the way till like 10. The other day was from 10 o'clock at night, and it was a training day. I'm like, fuck. All right. I knew it wasn't going to be as good of a workout, but better than me being a bitch and saying, you know what? It's fine. I deserve a break. I'm working all day. No, I got my ass up early. I walked in the gym all groggy and grumpy, and I got my shit done, and I came home and went to work. It's the same kind of thing though. But your brain has been, what do I have to dig for? Because I know there's opportunity in here. I know there's a solution in here, but I have to find it.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's hard for me to see problems. Like unless you have something that's terminal, and you have no time left, like where is there not a solution to something?
Mm.
I was going to the airport a couple of months ago, and I got picked up by a guy in a Tesla, and he was telling me like kind of a story. It was like a 10-minute ride at the airport. He's a school teacher who stopped teaching because he wasn't making dick money and everything got ruined during COVID. He realized that Hertz was offering a special on renting Teslas for $300 a month. And he knew that if you drive Uber using an electric car, you get a bonus for every ride that you do. So they give you like a little bit of an injection of money because you're using an electric car. So this guy makes $2,000 a week driving Uber. So he saw a problem. He didn't see a problem, actually. He saw a solution. He's like, I hate my fucking job. I like talking. I like driving. I have this opportunity. I can make more money as a driver than I can as a teacher. And there's all these opportunities available to me. Let me take it. Like that. And I just love that, because that to me is the American spirit. The American spirit to me is not let me lay down and let life just like fucking punch me in the face. The American spirit is I'm going to persevere under the worst possible circumstances, and I'm going to figure out a way, as opposed to just what I'm seeing now is just this fundamental lack of desire to want to move any step further. And it just bothers me, because it's the reason why fulfillment is at an all-time low, mental health is at an all-time low, obesity is at an all-time high. None of these things are by accident.
Yeah. It's funny when you said, even like, unless your thing is terminal, but even, dude, that's the thing though, is even I've known so many terminal people who are some bad motherfucker. Like I was actually one of the craziest client cases I've ever had was I was coaching this lady a few years ago. She had a ungodly severe case of lupus. Like not just it was so bad. And we would have to alter her entire protocol depending on how bad her lupus was that day. On a good day, the most of a workout she could do, walk around the block a few times. But she would literally, because of her situation, she checked in with me almost every day, like deviated from the normal protocol because I didn't know what kind of day it was. I'm like, cool, good day, dope. Let's go around the block a few times and really like maybe make some meals and things like that. If it was a bad lupus day, if she could go high five her mailbox, that's what her training plan was. She would walk out to her mailbox, high five it, go back and lay down, because that's all she could physically do. And on those days, I'm like, all right, we're leaning into meditation and journaling to keep you sane and to stay grounded. If it's a good day, we're going to go around the block a few times. And part of me felt bad as a coach, because I'm like, man, I just know we could be doing so much more, because compared to like the average client. But she got real open with me after that. And she goes, I can't tell you how important that period of time was and how grounding it was, and the support and all of it. All we did was journal and I had her go on journal and go on walks, but it was predicated on how her lupus was that day, because she was not in a victim state. She was, what's doable? Where's the solution? And that's how we conducted her whole protocol. And she made progress.
It's always the people that have it the hardest that do the best.
Yeah.
Like my single moms with no help are my biggest badasses.
Oh, every time, bro. It's the coolest thing ever.
Like you give me a mom with like a stay-at-home mom with a rich husband and like three nannies and a driver, like they ain't doing shit. They're finding every reason to complain that the plan isn't working. You give me the mom who's waking up at 3:30 in the morning every day, prepping her meals, driving their kids to work, or driving her kids to school, going to work, picking them up, and then going to the gym afterwards. Like that woman she can move mountains. And a lot of people are capable of that. They've just never been forced into that situation. So instead of waiting for like the worst possible case scenario to occur to you, or waiting to hit rock bottom because of how you look and feel, why don't you just take a proactive approach now? Stop worrying about the fucking number on the scale, because it hasn't bothered you in 20 years until today. Mm-hmm. Right? Like it's almost like you rolled out of bed and were like, fuck, I'm fat. What am I going to do about it now? Like you weren't any less fat a week ago. You did shit about it back then. So if you really care that much about your appearance, you probably wouldn't have let it slip in the first place.
Sure.
Like I'm vain as fuck. I've never been above 18% body fat in my fucking life, because I would probably put a gun in my mouth and pull the trigger. That's how much of a pussy I am. I don't want to be fat, because I derive a lot of personal value out of my appearance. Maybe that's wrong, but that's my system and it works for me. So what did I do? I never got fat, because I knew if I got fat, and to me, there's different degrees of discomfort. Like I would rather be uncomfortable doing the work that I do than be uncomfortable feeling like shit about myself. So if you truly don't want to suffer in that state of being or in that state of mind or have that body image issue, like there's actually evidence. I think there's I forgot where the PubMed article was, but it was like the best way to lose weight is to not gain weight in the first place. It was actually like a reason.
That's it's like I'm like, that's great, but it's also like, no shit. Best way not to be poor is just have a bunch of money. Like, no shit.
But at least like with the poor thing, like sometimes you don't have the circumstance, right? Like if let's say you grew up in a not an affluent household, you've had to always work. Like, money accumulation or retention is different. Like the easiest way to combat fat is just to not accumulate it in the first place. But once you do have it, you have to backtrack and realize what circumstances led you to that place. Like, how did you accumulate those 30 pounds that you're now unhappy with? What were the circumstances that led to that? What were the decisions like during that time? What was your lifestyle like? Because everybody always has this idea. Like, there's nothing bothers me more than when people are like, well, I'm athletic. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not athletic. Like, you were athletic 25 years ago when you were an athlete being not paid for it and you were at a very low level in high school. It doesn't make you an athlete. You played sports. It's like saying you're a fucking athlete when you go to like your 60-year-old softball game and you're smoking cigarettes and drinking Bud Lights. It doesn't make you like, that doesn't make you a fucking athlete. It makes you a recreational sports enthusiast. So you can't think about like what life used to be like and the body you used to have, and like like living like the Bundy days of like Polk High back in the day when I threw 3 touchdowns in high school. Like, nobody gives a shit about that now. You have 3 kids now. You have a full-time job. You have a house to take care of. You have a spouse who provides a bunch of stress. You have a bunch of friends that are asking you to do a million different things a week. So why don't you just do the best you can now? And your body will at some point reflect some of that. And maybe when the kids are out of the house and work lightens up a little bit, you can put your foot on the gas pedal and maybe achieve a greater level of achievement. But you don't try to slip yourself into clothes that don't fit you. Don't try to live in the body that you think you should have from 20 years ago, because all that shit has changed.
It sounds airy-fairy when I say it, but I think it has some big boy tacticalness to it. When I think I have this concept I talk about of being present in fat loss, where when people are either living in the high school days, where like, well, I used to be 130 pounds in high school when they had an eating disorder, or they're like living into the future too much. I'm like, bro, what's now? Cool. What's your life look like now? What kind of plan do we have to do now? I know this is what you used to do, but like, that's not even practical now. Hey, I know you did a bodybuilding show back when you were in college, but again, you're 3 kids, you have a life, you have a job, you're single now, like all this stuff. It's like, bro, like stop putting your benchmark to this unsustainable place that isn't even in real life anymore. What's in the present right now? Then we can go to work building the action plan.
Yeah. And people want tactics. Like, they listen to podcasts, they go on Instagram pages, and they want tactics. The tactics are just do the basics every goddamn day and get really good at them. That's all it is. I think that's really all it is. Like, can you carve out 3 to 5 days a week where you can go to the gym? Okay, maybe it's not 3, maybe it's not 4, maybe there's no magic number. It doesn't need to be 7, and it shouldn't be 1. So something between 2 and 6 is probably a decent landing spot. Like something, but like realistically, like 2, you're not going to make any progress on, usually, probably, unless you're training like Dorian Yates and you're on gas. But like, if you can't make it to the gym for 3 hours a week, like, how poor is your time management? Like, I just don't understand. Like, what is going? Like, do you have like 10 kids? Do you have multiple businesses? Like, how can you not carve out 3 hours for exercise a week out of 168 hours? I just don't understand how that's not possible. Okay, cool. How do you deal with eating? Well, make more food than you order. I think that's a really good starting point. As you keep making more and more food and ordering less and less food, you can start refining that skill set. So like,
that's good.
And it's just make more food than you order. Like, if you're somebody who's eating out 5+ times a week, understand that your environment is not very controlled, and that those meals can add up very quickly, because like something as simple as oil, right? Like 15 milliliters of olive oil is 120 calories. Like, when people measure out 15 milliliters of olive oil, they realize, holy shit. That's a lot of calories. Like, I did this experiment when I was in Florida visiting my parents. My mom was like trying to convince me that she eats healthy. Meanwhile, she just had a fucking pacemaker put in. I'm like, oh yeah, you're the picture of health. I literally, luckily there was a measuring spoon at the Airbnb, and I poured out 15 milliliters of oil and I put it on the salad. And she was like, you could almost saw like the joy just leave her body. She was like, that's all I get? I'm like, well, that's 120 calories. How much more do you want? She's like, well, I want more. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I put the thing on a scale, And then she started pouring the amount of oil she would want in there. There was 8 servings of olive
Almost
oil.
1,000 calories.
Right.
Probably close to 1,000. Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, just the dressing of your salad alone, like you might as well just make it swim in bacon grease. Like it's the same shit. Like you wouldn't eat that many calories worth of bacon, right? She's like, no, of course not. That's unhealthy. I'm like, okay, this is just as unhealthy because you have no semblance of portion control. You have no idea. Like I had a client yesterday. It was so fucking profoundly awesome. She sent me a picture. She's away in South Dakota. They go like, they do like ATVs and dirt biking and all this stuff. And her and a couple of families get together and they rent an Airbnb. Dude, you should have seen the snacks that they bought from Costco for this trip. Fucking 4 different varieties of Pringles, multiple boxes of chips, all sorts of candy, M&Ms, snack, like all that shit. Not one slice or shred of real food. I'm like, that's what people are snacking on all day long. That's your average American.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why we have a problem. Of course, it's easy to go grab another one of those little mini tins of Pringles and feel like, oh, well, I just had a little bit. How many little bits of that did you have all day long? Like you didn't eat any real sustainable, like real actual food that was grown by real nature and came from an animal. And then when you did eat something from an animal, it was 80-20 ground beef that was garbage. And you slathered it in mayonnaise and you put it between 2 buns. And you have these are the decisions that people are making on a daily basis and wondering why they're lost.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, I think so many people are like, because they're living a lie and they have no idea. It's why, one of the things we do when we coach people is before we'll ever give nutrition protocols, I have to see what you're doing. Like, I'm not going to tell you anything calorically macro. I just want to see 7 days in the day in life of you. And then we'll get the check-in back and it's Monday through Thursday. And I go, I want to see Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to be honest, more than anything else, because I swear it's at least 50 to 80% of people who are like, not that 1,200 calories is a magic number, but people go, I'm eating 1,200 calories and I can't lose weight. And I'm like,
no, the fuck you're not.
You might be the rarity who maybe has some serious metabolic adaptation shit going on, but 90% of people who are like, oh, a lick, taste, bite. Oh yeah, I'll take who wants a Starbucks order? Yeah, give me a caramel frappuccino. It's 1 tablespoon of peanut butter. Like if you think like you want to lose hope in the world, just because what's funny? I think about this. I see these clips of Family Feud all the time, like on social, where they like, we interviewed 100 people, asked them this question. I would love to go interview 100 people in the streets of New York to go, give me 1 tablespoon of peanut butter and just see what everyone says and make a big piece of content on it. But I think man, at the end of the day, it's not, everyone thinks they have to do all this extremism stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like, dude, we're just making these small changes and bringing hyper levels of awareness. And that's it.
And I know that some people are resistant to that because there is this very large culture right now that will label stuff like food tracking and quantification as a disordered pattern, or that it might exacerbate eating disorders. I just think that's perspective. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's perspective. Like if you have a financial problem and your financial advisor is like, hey, you can't spend more than $2,000 a month, or you're not going to be able to afford that house. You're probably looking at your bank account every day, monitoring your expenditure. So if you're truly at a loss for progress with your weight loss journey and you're unwilling to put something on a scale, or you think that's going to trigger you, then you probably need deeper levels of mental help at that point. You don't need a fat loss diet. You don't need a coach. You should probably just invest in an actual cognitive behavioral therapist if that's your relationship with a food scale. So
what's funny is I made a post about that one time, but I did a whole different mental reframe. I said, man, losing weight's so hard. Or I'm sorry, I said, man, this food thing, I didn't say losing weight. I said, this food thing is so overwhelming. I've got to weigh everything. I've got to like use special bowls. I have to use special measuring cups. Everything has to be to the gram and it can't be a little bit over. It's so tedious and so monotonous, but fuck, these cookies are going to be so good when I'm done with them. So my question is, why is it cool when it's a bit like that? That's what'll get me, because we work with a lot of people. Like, I don't say we're a replacement for therapy or that stuff, but we work with a lot of people with disordered bullshit, and I have systems for it all. But it blows me away how many people will say tracking calories is disordered, weighing your food is disordered, all that's disordered. But somehow when you decide to make cookies, a cake, bake things, it's great. You decide to like, I'm going to get into mutual funds. I'm going to get into investing. I want to manage my money. It's great. But dare you want to like control your health and your well-being, and you decide to track something in front of someone, and fuck, you're disordered as shit. But when it's cookies, it's fine. It's fine when it's baking cookies.
Because you have to be precise, Jared. You have to be precise, or else that cookie's gonna taste like shit. And guess what? Now you're ordering crumble for $35 delivered to your door.
My unpopular opinion is crumble is overrated.
It depends on the week.
Yeah,
it depends on the week. I like the frosted stuff because I just, it's always like the topping for me that works.
Yeah,
and I need at least two substances of vanilla and then 2 of chocolate so I can compare the 2 together.
I like it.
And again, I'm in a weed. Is Indiana weed legal or no?
No, it's dumb. It's not. I don't understand.
Well, you could just drive over into Illinois and probably get it.
Oh, I know. Like it's not hard to get here, but it's for some reason not legal. But it's weird.
Yeah, that's why I love living in California, especially now because I even, I still do love alcohol. Like there's a part, again, it's not that I love alcohol. I love the environment of alcohol. Like give me a good music festival, give me a house party, like give me something fun where I can like kind of just lose myself in it. Like, and I've always been open with all my clients, like, whether it's been a drug pass or whatever else. Like I think mind altering substances are really awesome if you know how to use them with intention. But so is food if you know how to use it with intention. But that's the problem is people aren't using anything with intention anymore. They're just doing it mindlessly and they have no concept of it. Like if you put an ounce of Coke and 3 bottles of alcohol in front of me right now, I wouldn't touch any of it. But if you give me a good enough reason to it, right? Like if fucking Tiesto was sitting outside my door and there was 55 people in my house, let's go. I will do all of it. I'll do the entire ounce. I will drink all 3 bottles of tequila, and I'll sit the rest of the day on the couch tomorrow, feeling sorry for myself. But I know I had a good time, and I probably won't do it again for another 3 to 4 months. But how many people are having those types of weekends, weekend over weekend over weekend, where they're, the 2 or 3 beers are adding up, the multiple plates of tortilla chips that are coming out in the basket that you're not stopping eating, the burrito here, the eggs Benedict here, the waffles here, like all that stuff is going to add up. And if you're chronically living on 1,500 calories, your metabolism can't handle 2,500 because now it's a surplus. And that's what people don't want to understand.
Well, I think you mentioned it. I love the clip. It was a clip from Beth and Matt's podcast where you said people don't actually diet. They diet for 72 hours, then behave like degenerates for the rest of the week and then lather, rinse, repeat. I mean,
if I lived on 1,200 calories, that's what my weekends would look like because I would be so frustrated with myself because I've just been so restrictive. Like, there's no, unless you're a really, really small person. Like, there's definitely been cases where, like, I've had women that were like 120 pounds, 115 pounds, and for whatever reason they wanted to, I'm not going to argue with them if they want to lose weight. Like, it is what it is. It's your journey. I'll try to put some muscle on you, but if you want to be 112, yeah, okay, maybe a 1,200 calorie diet for that person makes sense. But if you're 190 pounds, why the fuck do you think 1,200 calories is at all going to sustain any real health marker inside your body? Like, I usually use a range. Like anything below 8 calories per pound is not good. That's just my general guideline. Like I typically tell people, like, if you can't make progress on 8 calories per pound, you're either not very good at quantifying it, you're not very loyal or consistent with it, or there then can be something metabolically wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
8 calories per pound is a fucking deep diet for anybody. Like that is an extreme low amount of calories, and you should be able to lose weight. I mean, Minnesota Starvation Project, all these other things, diets work.
Yeah,
they don't not.
Absolutely.
We've got multiple pieces of evidence like they do work. They just shouldn't be. They just shouldn't be used for multiple months on end.
Yeah, or just stay in your deficit till all 80 of your pounds comes off.
That's the problem, is like the idea that like one dieting cycle is going to get me that dream body.
Right.
Like I'm going to go on, I'm going to do keto for the next however long it's going to take, and I'm going to immediately melt into Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
No. Like it's build muscle, lose some fat. Build some more muscle, maintain it, lose some fat. Build a little bit more muscle, maintain it, lose some more fat. Like, okay, year after year after year of practicing that. Like, if there's 52 weeks in a year, you probably shouldn't be dieting for 2/3 of it. Like, you should be in maintenance for probably at least 60 to 70% of the year.
Let me ask you this. This is a common thing we see in our people, because I'm the biggest fan of cycling ever, all of that, lots of maintenance phases and everything. But usually
Usually when someone goes through their first bout of maintenance, they're scared shitless. They're like, so what would you say, especially as someone who gets this, who's very well educated in this, who has countless success stories with this? What do you say to the person that's scared shitless to go into maintenance?
Why would you be afraid of something that's actually comfortable? Like that's the one place where you can actually chill a little bit. Like if you're on a diet, stop going out to eat. Like, I'm sorry. Like if you want to actively be pursuing it, like I'm very stringent about this stuff because to me, it's like, if I can't track it, why do it? Like if I can't, like, unless you're going to eat every single meal at like your local diner where they're like not using oil, they're not using butter, they're not putting any flavoring in your food. Like you can't control your environment. So you can't be like actively dieting and also still living a life of balance. It doesn't work that way. You're either dieting and you're consistent and adherent to your diet to allow the diet to work so you're not as uncomfortable for very long. And you can just exit the fuck out of it and then get into that really great place of maintenance. But like maintenance to me is a massive opportunity for progress because you can dial up your training intensity. You finally can actually produce some muscle protein synthesis because you're probably eating enough to do it. You're probably better fed and better prepared for training sessions. You probably can have better digestive outcomes. You could probably have a better mood. And if your mood and your energy is all good, you're probably making better decisions. So leverage maintenance for as long as you humanly can. And maybe build some caloric tolerance during that maintenance. Because if you can ratchet up calories during maintenance because your training intensity is actually getting to the point where you justify those calories, cool. Now you're not dieting at some stupid low number forever. You're actually building up some tolerance for calories and you're building a storage facility for calories. Like you can grow muscle. Like I used to be dogmatic and think that you needed to be in a surplus to grow muscle, but I've proven that that's not true.
No, you don't. No,
like I'm not in a surplus right now and I'm building muscle. Now granted I'm on 180 milligrams of testosterone, but that doesn't bring me to a super physiological level. It just brings me back to baseline. So most undertrained women don't need to be they can be in a fucking deficit and grow muscle, but I'd rather see them in a maintenance phase. Like, and maintenance is not like people think it's like a pinpoint number. Like if it's 1755 and I eat 1758 calories, like I'm in a surplus and it's over. Like that's it. Like that's where the belly fat's coming from. It's those 3 calories over maintenance. So maintenance is you probably have, I don't know, 150 to 200 calories of cushion on either side.
Yeah.
So it's probably like a 400 calorie range, realistically. So if you live within that range, you'll probably be fine. There's probably a lot of good stuff you can do inside that place, but you have to be consistent with it. And it can get boring because there's no noticeable progress happening. Like you have to start to enjoy the finer details. Like how well am I training? Am I somebody who controls tempo and form? Do I know where my muscles are? Do I know what muscles are supposed to be doing work during this exercise? Am I cleaning up my food quality to start to enjoy better mood, better digestion, and better energy? Is my sleep improving? Can I be doing other things to work on my mental health, like the journaling stuff that you were talking about? There's a lot of opportunities in maintenance that people don't see, and then they rush out of it to get into this dieting phase. And I purposely make dieting miserable for people to like incentivize them out of it.
Yeah,
like, I'm like,
so
if
you're
you're
going to maintenance.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, get the fuck out. Like, I have a woman right now begging me to get out of her diet. She was begging me to get into it. I'm like, are you sure? And I literally kept asking her for months. I'm like, are you sure you want to diet? Because I knew she was ready. We had built her up. She's 134 pounds, and we built her up to like almost 2,400 calories. She was lifting her ass off, getting stronger. And I just kept asking, like, are you ready to die? She's like, I'm like, are you sure you're ready to die? She's like, yeah, I'm ready. 3 weeks into it, she's like, this fucking sucks. I fucking hate it. I can't wait for this to be over. I'm like, well, guess what? You signed up for it, and you got to do a minimum of 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, none of her biofeedback sucks. She's absolutely fine.
Sure.
Like, it's just mental fortitude at this point. I'm like, no, fuck you. Like, I treat her like the kid. I treat her like the kid who wanted to smoke the cigarette, and now I'm going to make you smoke the whole pack.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you wanted the cigarette that bad? Cool. Let's see you smoke the whole pack of Marb Reds, and let's see if you still want to smoke afterwards.
I know some coaches that, like, the clients that want to do all the trendy bullshit, they're like, you know what? Go do it and tell me how that works out for you. Eat keto, eat carnivore, eat whatever. Go in your fucking weird fasting window. Do it for the next month, and let's see how that goes. And like, let them find out the stove is hot. You know. I
think it's great. I actually have never. I think there's value to fasting and keto for sure for specific people, for specific populations with certain issues. I just had a call with somebody the other day where I was learning different protocols and when to deploy them. So I actually just recently did deploy keto on a client of mine, and it's been an interesting experience because her first week and a half, she was miserable. Like, this is awful. but it was real keto. Like we were 65% fat, 25% protein. Like we were actually like
Not just binge eating mayonnaise and bacon grease.
No, like she was eating like real sources of omega-3 fats, flax seeds. She was eating like real protein. Like she was only eating certain types of vegetables and fruits, no starches. Like it was real keto. And now she's about 3 weeks into it. She's not down a ton of weight, but she feels really good and her body comp has changed because she's somebody who's highly stressed, high levels of inflammation. She's got a couple of different things going on from an autoimmune perspective. So keto's not a bad idea for somebody like that. And it's also not a bad idea if you're severely overweight and don't move at all. Right? Like if you're somebody who weighs 500 pounds and you don't move off your couch, you can go keto and probably see some result until your body starts to need those carbs because the motion starts to go up. But stuff like fasting, like nobody ever actually does these things the way that they're intended to be done. Like they do them for a couple of days or they try them. Like whenever like in the intake form it says I tried XYZ, I usually just assume that you didn't do shit.
Yeah, I get that.
Like you dipped your toes in the water. It was cold. I got the fuck out immediately when it got uncomfortable. That's exactly what happened. That means you never actually allowed, like keto actually takes 3 to 5 weeks to kick in.
Yeah.
And you better be measuring that with a blood monitor. Like don't just piss on a stick and tell me you're in ketosis, and don't be drinking on the weekends and tell me you're in ketosis.
No, everyone I know that says they like that follows something like keto. I go, oh, what's your blood test telling you? What's your finger prick telling you? And they're like, what? Yeah. Like the fact, like they're like, I thought I just don't eat carbs and I like eat all the bacon and mayonnaise and like dude, I had a dude one time that used to like, I had a dude at one time that was at the gym I used to work at. I had like a meal prep meal between clients of like chicken, rice, and broccoli, normal bodybuilder style meal. And he like close your eyes and squirt like all the mayonnaise on you and stuff, tons of cheese, all of the stuff, like enough to like, it made the macaroni noises when he stirred it. Like that's how much it was. And he goes, I had a chicken and a potato and like broccoli. And he looked at me like I did something wrong. He goes, is that a potato? And I go, yeah, it's just like, a little medium potato with, my chicken and stuff. And he goes, oh, well, I'm on keto. As he's like eating, he's got some chicken, but he's got so much mayonnaise. He's probably got 800 calories of mayonnaise and cheese where it's making macaroni noises when he stirs it, shaming me for my fucking 150 calorie potato.
and that's the problem is like vegetables are bad, fruits are bad. We got guys like Mark Hyman who are like yelling at us because vegetables are trying to kill us because of their phytoprotective chemicals.
Right.
Like the amount of like dumb cherry picking evidence that I see every day. Like
it's dumb.
I gotta respect guys like Huberman because his podcast is massive. He's this authority figured out, but like fuck him. I'm sorry. Like stop stop making everything so complicated. You're sending people down this very unreasonable rabbit hole. And by the way, his PhD is not in nutrition. His PhD is not in training. It's in like light therapy, how your eyes perceive circadian rhythm. Like that's what he got his PhD in.
Interesting.
So like if you want to like talk about like sunning your taint and like walking out into nature, like if that's going to be how you optimize training, like if you spend 14 minutes in a cold plunge versus 13, it's less effective. Like we have an obesity problem. We don't have an optimization issue in America. Like nobody's like trying to I hate this idea, like this movement towards optimization. Like we don't even, like we got people online that are arguing about like insertion and origin points of the lats. Like just fucking show somebody what a lat pull down looks like and tell them where they're supposed to feel it.
Yeah. Pull this to this.
That's it. And just fuck off. And that's it. Like that's all I need you to do. But like when and then the amount of comments that come in because all these nerds and idiots are sitting there arguing back and forth with another, and half the time like your physique looks like shit anyway. Like why do you care about optimizing anything? You're not growing because you're not training hard enough and you're not eating, which is the antithesis of what the woman over there is doing, who is trying to grow a booty while eating kale chips all day long. Mm-hmm. Like none of this stuff makes sense anymore.
Yeah, I agree. It's crazy, man. But man, dude, this has been so good. I know I've been meaning to have this episode to get recorded and stuff. So I really appreciate you doing this, man. For those listening, where can they find you? If they're like, I like this, this bald bastard, where can I find his shit at?
this unreasonable, mean psychopath. All my craziness is 4 weeks to the beach on Instagram. The numbers 4 and 2. Weeks to the Beach on Instagram. That's where you'll find me. That's where I'll answer DMs. I'm answering DMs every single day. So if you ever have any questions for me, let me know. I host an event in Vegas and still trying to drill down dates. It'll be in March, but that's a coaching event. Not exclusively for coaches. It is open to general public. If you just want to come and learn about various disciplines across nutrition, training, and stuff like that, that is a good opportunity to come and learn. I've had some lay folks show up to it last year and they really loved it. It's a good way to just feel like you're connected to something that's actually real, as opposed to getting all this like influencer information. Like this is real. These are real educators who are very good at what they do that are teaching, as opposed to like somebody who just has a big following. But that's really it. I don't really plug anything. If you need a coach, I do coach. If you don't need it, if you just need advice, I'm happy to just give advice for free. So that's kind of what I do.
I love it, man. Good shit. Well, we'll be sure to throw all that in the show notes and all that good stuff. So, dude, thank you again for doing this. This has been really good.
Thanks, Jared. And hopefully we'll finally get to meet in person. We get to finally be degenerates and eat Five Guys together.
Let's do it. Yes. I love it, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, man.
And we're back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again to this week's episode of Dieting from the Inside Out, because we all know outer work without inner work doesn't work. And I am committed to bringing you a video, or an episode every single week, because that's how we change this. That's how we change the industry. That's how we change the entire space of trying to change your life. And that's what we're here to do. So if you got a lot of value out of this, number one, subscribe to the show, wherever you're listening to it on. So YouTube, it's there, subscribe there. iTunes, Spotify, Google, I don't care. Subscribe, leave me a review. It means a ton to me and it really, really helps. But if this hit home, I want you to, share this with someone, like the person that you thought of, that you're like, man, they're struggling with this too. I want you to send this episode to them or screenshot it, put it on your story. That is my one ask. If every one of my viewers that is watching this, that's you, shares this, we will literally double the podcast in terms of its downloads and the amount of people we're helping. Because if you listen to the episode or the show consistently, you know how helpful this can be. You know how much one piece of advice or perspective can change your life, and you could literally be the person that gives that to someone else. You share it, the one person sees it and they go, oh my gosh. I cannot tell you the amount of stories I have from people who felt hopeless. They were ready to give up, and then they heard the right podcast episode and their whole life was changed. And you could be that catalyst for someone just by sharing it. So please do that for me. It means a ton. It supports the show and it helps a bunch of other people. So I appreciate the fuck out of you. Before you go, I do have a lot of stuff for you in the description. Number one, I have for you all of Aram's contact info. Be sure, if you listen to this and you're like, wow, this was dope, I want you to reach out to Aram and tell him what's up. Tell him that you heard his story on the show and that you appreciate him. Please do that for me. Next, there is, if you're not sure quite where to get started with all this weight lossy stuff, I do have my free course. It's called the Fat Loss Checklist. It's down below, and it is a game changer. It will simplify everything for you if you're not quite sure where to get started. If you are, you know what to do, you're getting started, but you just feel alone, you feel lost, like your husband doesn't get it, your friends are kind of like crabs in a bucket, and you're just kind of feel like you're lone wolf in it with no support, join my Facebook community. I have an amazing community I built called Fat Loss Simplified, and it is nothing but the right kind of people you need to be around to really help love on you, support you. And it's a place you can go to get more answers to your problems, and it's completely free. So many of our problems go away when we land ourselves in the right communities of people. We can see it happen with kids. Like the law of association is real. You get a good kid around bad kids and the good kids turns bad, or you get a bad kid around good kids and he turns good. It's no different for you just because you're an adult. If you're struggling, you get around a bunch of killers, you're going to turn into a killer. It's just how the universe works. So join my Facebook community. I'll leave a link below, or you can go into Facebook and search Fat Loss Simplified, and it's right there. I'm trying to think what else. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube, definitely check out the YouTube, because we have full-length episodes on there, as well as 1 million shorts and some medium form content that isn't anywhere else. And then what else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, of course I am. 2 things, actually. If you're not subscribed to the podcast website, you should absolutely go at least check it out. We have a brand new podcast website. It's dietingfromtheinsideout.com, and it is your hub for all things the podcast touches. It is, we have all the resources, we have all the audio, all the video, but we also have the entire episode, all of the episodes transcribed into blogs. So if you just want to skim through the show, or you want to go back through and like read the episode and all the resources in there's graphics and there's screen grabs, there's all sorts of cool stuff. And I'm really happy with it. My team did a great job with it, the people that we were working with, and you should absolutely go check that out. And then lastly, if you are really on your last limb with trying to figure this thing out, if you're really stuck and you're like, man, I just don't like the mental bandwidth of trying to do this on my own and figure things out, you should really consider applying for coaching. Now, because you're coming from the podcast, you have a very special place in my heart. So I do have some extra stuff going on for people who apply for coaching and get accepted that are coming from the podcast. So there's a special link below that will take you to the front of the line, because number one, when it does come to coaching, we do cap how many people we take per month. And also we have a tendency to get a wait list started. So if you end up deciding you want to apply for coaching and you go to the link below, you will go straight to the front of the line when it comes to like wait list and stuff like that. Because like I said, I hold a very special place in my heart for my podcast listeners. So if that's you and you're like, I'm just tired of figuring this out, apply for coaching and watch your life change. Coaching is literally the best and fastest way that's still the most sustainable to get from where you're at to where you want to be streamlined. Because instead of you having to figure everything out, which is going to take forever and it sucks, you're learning from other people's mistakes. I would rather, for me, when it comes to me expediting my results, I would rather pay someone who has a track record of changing my exact avatar in the most streamlined, least friction way possible than me having to go through all the pitfalls and taking 10 times the amount of effort and time. So if that's your cup of tea, apply for coaching below. Otherwise, I really appreciate you turning. Wow, words are hard. I really appreciate you tuning into this week's episode of the podcast. Be sure and stay subscribed so you know what's coming next week. Otherwise, I love you and I will talk to you next time.